Hi, friends. Welcome to Charlie and Steve Watch Stuff, where today, I can't believe I did it, but we are watching Barbarian. My name's Steve Selnick, and joining me, as always, is my good friend, Charlie Peppers. Charlie, what's up, baby?
Hey, baby, I wasn't sure what was going on for a second. Then I thought, oh, he's doing the movie. He's doing the movie.
Yeah, that was something else, man. Oh, what a film. What a film indeed.
So for all of our listeners, as we've been going through each movie, I've been quietly just in my head thinking, okay, Steve, keep watching another film on the list. Watch another one. Because every movie we watched, he said, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. You know, and now we finally have reached a film that gave my boy some pause. So I'm ready to jump in.
I'm glad that you deliberately gave me the dumb man voice in your second iteration of that wasn't so bad. Because I'm much like all of the male characters in this movie were just a dumb boy the entire time. Just a dumb boy. How little did I know. Charlie, I had to watch, we're recording this in the afternoon on a beautiful day in October. I actually had this pulled up to watch during the day yesterday, and I got 5 seconds into the intro of just like ominous music and darkness and rain, and I was like, nope, can't do this right now.
Really?
It's not. Headspace is 100% not right, and I decided to wake up early when my like brain is at its best and like drink my coffee watching this movie.
Okay, that's
honestly, I think I probably liked it a little bit more because I like came at it freshest. It's like I like doing my most productive things as early as possible. I'm a weird like that.
Same.
But like my most productive personal things, let's not get it twisted. I don't love working early in the morning. I don't know who does. It felt like the right time to go for it. But anyway, let's jump right in because this was a doozy and a half.
It really was. Barbarian, released in 2022, directed by Zack Cregger and also written by Zack Cregger. That definitely shows in the movie because it is a vision. Steve Selnick kept saying why while he was watching it for very good reason. The film's...
Is that the vision?
That's what he did. The film stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, one of those Skarsgård babies, and Justin Long. Very small cast, and we're going to break into why. The plot sees a woman finding out that the rental home she reserved has been accidentally double booked by a man, not knowing of a dark secret within the dwelling. So the way that this movie opens up, we get Tess, the main character. She arrives at a rental house in Detroit on the evening before a job interview. However, she finds it has been double booked and is already occupied by a man named Keith. Initially unnerved by Keith, Tess warms up to him and decides to stay the night while Keith sleeps on the couch. When she wakes up in the middle of the night, she is shaken to find her bedroom door has been opened, but Keith is asleep and assures her he did not open the door. All right, let's dig into this because I got a lot of shit to say.
I'm already like re-noping out. I'm like, just reliving it all in my head. I'm just immediately like, nope, I remember this part. Nope, absolutely not. Oh God, I hate the scary shit. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies, man.
Okay, let's dig into why it gives you the heebie-jeebies. Because the first...
No, this is not a therapy session, Charlie.
Bitch, it could be.
That's tomorrow. That's a different Zoom call.
I meant more on a technical standpoint. All right, let's break it down.
The ominousness of it all, and as you that T word that you love to say, the tension word that is being built from scene number 1. The first thing I wanted to talk about, kind of in this opening, probably like 15 minutes that probably covers, is that one of the things that inspired this film is this nonfiction book called The Gift of Fear. And I learned that, I don't know if you're aware that Amazon has the nifty like fun facts. If you're watching a movie on your laptop or on your phone, it has those like quick facts that come at you. So this is one of the quick facts that I was like, oh, this is fantastic for podcasting. But The Gift of Fear, it has a section that encourages women to trust their intuition and not ignore the subconscious and very not subconscious red flags that arise in their day-to-day interactions with men. I think that Bill Skarsgård is immediately demonstrating a lot of these red flags that should immediately be like, no, girl, you can figure it out. He's probably lying to you. There's not a conference that's in town. Like, you could figure it out. Making her tea when she said she was already okay. Her walking out to him sitting there like a fucking creep with 2 wine glasses. And like, they do start to play with your brain a little bit, and you hear some creaking of the floorboards, and the music in this movie the entire time is, I don't know what modern horror music's supposed to feel like, but for some reason this just felt like, I'm like, oh, this is modern horror music. It doesn't feel like it's in your face, but it feels like it could be maybe something that Trent Reznor releases. Anyway, it had me scared shitless, and the entire time I was like, girl, get out the house. But based on what you've taught me, Charlie, I felt a little bit more like Tess had final girl plot armor the whole time. So I wasn't as worried for Tess the entire movie as I probably would have been maybe watching this like 3 weeks ago. Anyway, that's a lot of word vomit on what I thought about that initial part.
No, that's what the podcast is for. Word vomit away.
Podcast is word vomit.
I would say, yeah, Tess right away is somebody who is deeply tapped into her instincts. I'd also like to say that the opening of this film definitely gave me Psycho energy, Alfred Hitchcock Psycho, not any of the remakes, because back then checking into a hotel is what you would do on a dark and stormy night if you had a conference in town. But in the 2020s, getting an Airbnb is what you would do. So I would say the scariness of this movie started when she didn't even have the proper code to get into her Airbnb. That is something so mundane that if either you or I were running into that as an obstacle, not only would we be annoyed, we'd be scared. We're in an unfamiliar place. It's super late at night. Is the person who booked this for us around? What are we going to do? Can we turn around? So it's an inconvenience that can very quickly spin into a horror scenario. So I thought that right away, just the movie is so modern for that and is so universal in just that tiny detail. You said that Keith is just a walking red flag. I don't necessarily disagree, but I also think that he has a lot of graceful qualities to him. He, yes, insisted that he make her a cup of tea. He was sitting on the couch kind of weirdly with 2 wine glasses. I think that you could read into this based on your own life experiences and being in situations like that. Also, neither you or I are women in this situation. Definitely, I would feel differently if I were in this situation than maybe somebody who wasn't a gay black man. But at the same time, I think there's something about the way that this actor played the character as a little oafish and a little unsure of himself and a little, oh, yeah, you can watch me make the tea, or I'm confused. I don't know what's going on either. When I first saw this movie, I either thought he was a really good actor, the character, not the actor. The actor is good, though. I thought the character was putting on a charade, but yeah, I think this dude is just a decent person in a really, really awkward situation.
Yeah, I could see that. It is Bill Skarsgård who we're talking about, famously known for playing the Pennywise, the clown, in It and It Part 2. So when he's like, it's not like I'm a monster or something. Well, technically, you are a monster a little bit, but just in a different reality, I suppose. It all kind of culminates in she decides to spend the night, despite what I would say is her better judgment. Different situations call for different things. There's a guy named Marcus who keeps blowing up her phone, who I guess is like, and I think this is something that the perpetual cycle of being beholden to men in some sort of way that this character seems to be in some sort of every single time. Like, she seems like still attached to this guy that she comes back to on a secular basis, and she seems at the mercy of men throughout this movie. And I want to talk about where that goes by the end of the movie, because I think I understand things beyond people getting their faces smashed in. Spoilers. So we go to the next day and we get that creepy moment, or I guess in the middle of the night, we get that creepy moment with you hear the floorboards creeping in the night, and the door is nudged open and you hear Keith having a nightmare on the couch, and she goes to wake him up and he like screams and is like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? I think any good horror movie makes you go, well, maybe this isn't that guy, and makes you really, really think about it. And so we get to the next day. You couldn't really tell what kind of neighborhood she was in when you were getting the opening scene at night, but then you see it in the daytime, and like, this is the only house that's still standing. There isn't even another one that's not totally like broken down. Urban decay in Detroit is the reason that's cited for that, which is, I suppose, a real thing. But she goes to this job interview, knocks a job interview out of the park, and then she tells this lady where she's staying, and the lady's like, wait, what? You're staying where? That's a terrible, you should not be there. And not, oh, don't go there. That place is condemned. There's nothing there for you. You're quite literally alone. And she's like, no, I'm a big girl. I'll be fine.
Backing up a little bit, she and Keith do kind of spark a little bit
sure
the night before. And I'm not saying that that is a reason that anybody should deny what their gut is telling them, because I think she definitely should have listened to that lady and not gone back there. I think she went back more because she is a good person rather than she just has a little crush. You know, I think that this is somebody who her instincts told her that he was an okay person and meant her no harm. So she kind of clung onto that without zooming out and looking at the surrounding area and how weird it would be for a house like this to be booked out when everything around it is just decaying. That is fucking odd, you know? But the fact that she just zooms in on this connection that she has with this one person, I think she's lonely. I think that she enjoyed the connection. She enjoyed their time together. Hell, maybe she's strapped for money and this was really affordable. That could say a lot about the economy right now. Just her.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, is that I think it cleared the bar of how much effort do I want to put into finding a new place and how much cost is it going to be, and is this worse than that? And I think after that night she decided it wasn't. Although even after seeing all of the buildings and hearing that warning from her potentially new future coworker, it still wasn't worth going through all the trouble of trying to find something different.
She ends up returning to the house. She's chased inside by an unhoused man who yells at her to leave. Never a good sign. He definitely would know the area more.
Get yourself out that house.
Get yourself out that house. I would have listened to him. I'm like, given this area, I'm like, oh shit. If I were her, my mind would have gone to, oh shit, are there squatters in the house that I don't know about? Is that the noise that I heard with the floorboards? Like, that's where my mind would instinctively go if I were her. But again, different people, different scenarios. So Tess accidentally locks herself in the basement and stumbles across a kitchen hallway, leading her to a room with a camera, a stained mattress, a bucket, and a bloody handprint. Keith returns to the house and frees Tess from the basement. Ignoring Tess's warning, he investigates the hidden hall. When he does not return, Tess follows him and finds a subterranean tunnel attached to the hidden corridor, where she finds Keith injured. While they argue about where to go, the pair are attacked. God, even just reading this makes me see her in my head. The pair are attacked by a naked, deformed woman known as Mother, who kills Keith by violently bashing his skull against a wall.
This got me good. Good twist.
Good.
Really
good twist. But as soon as I saw that dark hallway, I would have been out. I'm out. Keith had no business going in there.
Had no business going down there. No business. The hubris on this man from the moment he walked up to the house and saw that Tess was locked in the basement and kind of just thought it was a joke. Being like, he was laughing. He was like, the fuck are you doing down there? Like, what happened? How did you do this? Letting her out of the basement. Him being like, yeah, sure, I believe you, but I don't believe you because I'm going to go see for myself, you fucking toxic bastard. Like, his masculinity is still his downfall. And his inability to listen to a woman when she is speaking is absolute. Like, he refused to actually listen to her the entire time, from the tea all the way to this moment. I don't know why you would walk down that tunnel without saying anything, to the very end when she's like, the getting out is this way, and he's like, no, that's where she came from. And I'm like, my dude, how is that possible? Anyway, he deserves.
You know how it's possible? Every
single bash he got.
Boy math. That's how it's possible.
Fucking boy math.
All the time. Gets him all the time. I think Keith has never had to fear for his life on the level that
failing upwards
Tess has had to fear for hers.
Talk about never fearing for his life. We're about to get to it.
It gets taken from him pretty abruptly. That was a very brutal way to die. And I did feel bad because Keith, there's nothing wrong with Keith. He just was stupid about how he went about this situation, and Tess cared enough about him to go after him and be concerned.
Listeners, in case it's not explicitly clear, the lesson of Keith is to believe women.
Yes, that's always the lesson of Keith. Let's just call it the lesson of Keith from now on.
Write that down. We'll take a second. Write that down.
You know who could definitely use the lesson of Keith? It's the...
Oh my God.
You know who I'm getting to.
Oh my God.
He was so entertaining. He's so damn entertaining.
He was so good. He was very good.
He knew the assignment. Who knew the assignment?
Totally did.
Justin fucking Long. The house owner, an actor named AJ, is fired from a television series over allegations that he raped his co-star. Pressured to sell assets to pay his legal costs, AJ travels to Detroit to inspect the house before selling it. He finds the hidden tunnel and tries to measure it, believing it may increase the house's value. So this part was pure camp. Just him pulling the tape and pulling the tape and pulling the tape.
And then him getting all the way to the room, touching the mattress, being like, ew, but then like still measuring all of it. And then the next thing he does is Google if you can count underfloor space as extra square footage.
Oh, God.
Not alarmed whatsoever at the murder basement and the tunnel going in, like with the cages and shit like that. He's just Googling whether or not he can put it in the square footage.
Oh my
Unbelievable.
God. The world is for him, so he's never had to consider that anyone would be out to get him except these quote-unquote bitches who are out to get him. Karma comes to get him by the end of the movie, but we're not there yet.
Does it ever?
It does it ever. The mother attacks AJ in the tunnel, and he falls into a hole where he meets Tess. A flashback to the 1980s shows Frank, the house's original owner, abducting women, raping them, and keeping them captive in the tunnels, where it is implied that he rapes the offspring. This is really fucked. This is super fucked.
Super fucked.
I'm going to back up. That flashback's very interesting. It wasn't until my second watch of the movie years ago that I caught all the nuances of it. I thought that it was really random to be jumping back into that time.
Talk about that a little bit, because I mean, I kind of took it for what it was, which was just a little bit more context of what the house was and how it came about. But tell me those nuances that you see as you on that like second or third or whatever. Like, what jumps out to you during this kind of like flashback crawl?
Well, it's just the looming threat that men present in the world. You know, I don't think that there are many scenes of men interacting with men in this movie at all. It's all about men taking up space, men interacting with women, and the quiet bargaining that I think every woman does in their brain when they're presented with a male stranger. You know, that as men, we don't have to do the calculations that Tess did when she shows up to the Airbnb. You know, we don't have to, at the grocery store, just wonder what this strange man is going to do to us. You know, I think there's also something to be said about all of the men who do harm in this movie just being white men, because I have a running joke with one of my friends when he says, oh my God, this guy was so hot. I'm like, was he hot or was he just a tall white dude? Because I think in our society, being a tall white person, that's just an immediate stamp of, okay, you're somebody who the world has been built around. You're somebody that pop culture is definitely telling me I should be into and I should trust and I should idolize and I should believe. So the fact that Keith is, by the way, handsome because, hello, he's a Skarsgård. Justin Long is an actor who's revered, and he gets really frustrated when his privilege gets challenged. And then you have this guy in the flashback who also isn't bad looking. So it's definitely saying something about...
And he's tall.
Yeah, and he's tall.
He's imposing almost. And that lady in the grocery store doesn't bat a fucking eye when this strange tall man is like diapers and plastic sheets and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he is trying to deliver a baby in some way or another.
She's probably seen stranger shit. I think in her head, she's more thrown by his vibe. I think she can tell that something's off about him. And
bad vibes, bro.
Yeah,
bad
vibes. Bad vibes. The gift of fear. The lesson of Keith.
The lesson of Keith. Believe women, baby.
Yeah, but it was really weird. What do you think? Let's talk about this AJ character. What did you think of AJ, and why did you find him entertaining?
First of all, entertaining. I just want to do a quick timeout on this. He's guilty.
Oh, 100%.
There is a scene in which he proves that he is guilty of the rape he is being accused of.
He's
talking to his friend in the bar.
He's a piece of shit.
It's like, he's a piece of shit. He writes, like, it's almost word for word how you would hear it written off by any white man that's trying to, like, including the, like, going home drunk and calling and leaving that remorseful voicemail.
So gross.
That's, like, a good idea.
That was really uncomfortable.
Well, it made me uncomfortable because it was real.
Mm-hmm.
It was real. Fucking A, man. Like, it's a character that you can't wait to die. I mean, you explained it a lot already. The privilege being removed from him, being held accountable for his actions. One of the few male-to-male interactions is when his bank is no longer representing him anymore, telling him to go find different wealth management. He was pitch perfect. And so when I say entertaining, I mean the message.
The movie wasn't on his side. That's what we mean.
No, not at all. Not at all.
The movie knew,
and it was entertaining watching him flounder.
Yes.
Yeah, it was entertaining watching him cluelessly walk down this hallway that we just saw someone get their fucking head smashed open in, being like, "Oh wow, I can count all this as square footage." Like, it's a miracle he lasted as long as he did, and the only reason why he did is because he had a test there.
Yeah, the only reason he has the longevity that he has in the movie is because of Tess. It's just so funny to see him fumble. You're also just waiting for this guy to get his. That's the fun of this movie. You're waiting for him to get his. Also, because Justin Long is a great performer, so I'm waiting to see how he's going to react to Mother. And when I tell you... when she put her titties in his face.
This is the cutout.
Oh my God. I have never screamed and laughed and thrown myself on the couch so fast. That was incredible.
You have to drink it. You have to fucking drink it.
It was absurd. It was gross. Unbelievable. It was incredible. It was justice. It was definitely justice. And what that guy had coming to him all along.
She was giving Mother.
She gave him Mother.
Is this where that started? No. I feel like this is where that started.
No.
I know it's not, but it should be.
But we can apply it to this because it's awesome.
Definitely.
She gave Mother and then some with those Tiggo bitties. Anyway,
got his just desserts.
Oh God. In the present, the mother locks Tess and AJ in a hole. Tess tells AJ that the mother wants them to act as her children. AJ is dragged away by the mother, who forcibly tries to breastfeed him. Tess uses the opportunity to escape the house with the help of the unhoused man from earlier, who warns her that the mother will come after her at nightfall. This reminded me of the 90s when they would say, "It's 8 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?" So Mother definitely is the embodiment of that. When it was 8 p.m., she wanted to know where her children, quote unquote, children were. I also find it interesting that when AJ runs into Frank, AJ, for the first time in the movie, And Frank is the guy in the flashback who I believe committed all these atrocities.
Yeah.
AJ actually has sympathy for him. And he's wondering, oh my God, dude, are you okay? Which is so interesting to me. What did you make of that?
He trusts that the man is the victim.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh man, what did this monster do to you? Like, this is just another layer of whatever fucked up shit that she's doing. And then he has to discover for himself that the man is actually the bad guy. And that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe he learns that in that moment that, like, they can think that they're good guys as much as they want, but they're probably bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just fucking weird. And there's tapes of all of this stuff going on with a VCR.
Yeah, because you saw the video camera.
Yeah, VCR. That's how you know this has been going on for a while. That technology.
For real.
He's got this on tape. A horrified AJ berates Frank for his crimes before Frank kills himself with a concealed revolver. I don't know why Frank killed himself. I would assume that things are working out the way that he wants them to work out. I don't think he isn't a victim of the mother. He's just complicit. He's there with her.
He probably just thinks he's made.
What do you mean?
Like, he probably just thinks that he's gonna get, like, hauled in at that point. Like, someone discovered his secret.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't choose to just shoot AJ, but maybe that was all the strength he had, was to just lift it at himself. I mean, in terms of, like, things that are not fully formed, the whole Frank thing isn't, it's just kind of like, this is a thing that happened and they just happened to walk into it, and that's that.
Right.
It's kind of like it's a cesspool of the worst type of masculinity, and I think that's probably, like, you know, this is the worst kind of man that you can be, and this is the place that's created when you are that kind of person. I guess that's again, I'm digging into the deeper message of everything because we weren't given lore or contextualize on things like I think you're used to in movies these days, where everything needs to have context and background and it needs explaining, where they just went, this is the thing, we're not going to explain it.
Right. I think that works to the movie's benefit because it's just there's a banal quality to a lot of the violence and a lot of the violations that happen in this movie. It kind of just is what it is. I don't know if that's a really dismissive way to say it, but in a weird way, I could kind of see something like this movie happening in real life.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually was about to say something sort of the opposite, where I was like, I think it actually keeps it out of real life for me to a degree. It keeps it as more of a scary story rather than something that happened in the world, if that makes sense.
Right. I can see that.
Just what I was about to say, I can totally see you're into it too. Look at that.
Look at us making a podcast. So, Tess leads police to the house, but they dismiss her story due to a lack of evidence.
These fucking cops, dude.
Fucking cops. Assuming that she is essentially a drug addict who was squatting in the house and everything else is a delusion, and leave as night falls. Tess breaks into the house, retrieves her car keys, and rams the mother with her car, seemingly killing her. Tess returns to the basement to rescue AJ. Why? AJ, assuming her approaching footsteps are the mother's, mistakenly shoots her with Frank's gun. The two escape and find that mother has vanished. Tess and AJ then take shelter with the unhoused man. Yeah, I definitely think I like the moment with the cops because I could see her race playing into it as well. So I thought that the intersectionality of that was really interesting. And I thought her insistence to set things right and to do the right thing, it's definitely giving me Final Girl energy. It's the reason why she accidentally gets shot by AJ, but still, I'm impressed with her as a character.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes it a less entertaining movie if she just leaves AJ behind. But, like, damn it, dude, use your fucking ears, man. I guess AJ never really listened to Tess either. So I guess in general, hey, dudes, listen to women, believe women.
Absolutely. All the time.
Both sides of that coin. Less bad things would happen if we did that.
Oh, for sure. I totally feel that. So we start coming up to the climax of the movie. The unhoused man explains that mother is a product of Frank's multi-generational incest with his victims. The mother bursts in, kills him by ripping his arm off and beating him to death with it. That was some Mortal Kombat
His
shit.
name is Andre, by the way.
His name is Andre. So mother bursts in,
R.I.P. Andre.
kills Andre by ripping his arm off and beating him to death with it, and chases Tess and AJ up a water tower. AJ loses his gun and pushes Tess off the water tower to save himself. What a piece of shit. The mother jumps after
What
her.
a piece of shit.
Were you shocked when he did this?
No, that's the worst part, as I was like, oh, this piece of shit's going to throw her off. Because it was basically right when he was like, I can outrun her. Right after he was like, I can get away. I was like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, he's what a fucking golden tongued snake mouth motherfucker. Like, this piece of shit would toss you under the bus the first chance he has if it meant saving his own skin, which is, toxic traits.
Yeah. I find that very interesting. I also found his monologue interesting, where it felt like he was on the precipice of realizing or owning up to the fact that he is a piece of shit, but he denied that for himself. So he's aware.
Yeah.
He's aware of how far gone he really is and how he treats people, particularly how he treats women and how he moves through the world. But then for that monologue to happen and for him to hard pivot to pushing Tess off the water tower, I thought that was a really great move. With the writing, the performances, the directing, he's a solid character. I'd say that he's the true villain of this movie.
I agree with you.
After AJ pushes Tess off, the mother jumps after her and shields her from the fall. AJ finds Tess is still alive, but as he tries to rationalize his actions to Tess, the mother awakens and gouges his eyes out before splitting his head open. Just fatality.
Yeah, good Mortal Kombat deaths in this one, for sure.
The mother attempts to comfort Tess, but she remorsefully shoots the mother dead with Frank's gun and limps away as the sun rises.
I did like that it was a post-credit limp away, because after she shoots mother and goes to, like, directed by, what's his name? Sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I keep wanting to say Zack Cregger, which is the name of a guy I went to college with. It's not the name.
Zack Cregger.
He was directed. See, I was Zack Cregger. Shout out to Zack Cregger. Shout out, Zack. Good job by you. Great movie. And I mean that. But I love that they pulled like a mini Avengers and like did a couple of credits before you see Tess walking off into the sunset. And you're like, sequel. Let's go sequel.
I interpreted it as a mercy kill.
Interesting.
Because the mother was so far gone in what the mother had become, and Tess just intuitively understanding that the mother was treating her and Justin, and probably at some point attempted to treat Keith or wanted to treat Keith like one of her children, just was understood what she was about on a level, and also saw that this is just all that person would be capable of being, which is a very brutal laws of the jungle way to look at it. But I think that it was less about feeling like she had to get away from her and kill the villain, and more of a, I'm so sorry that happened to you, let me just put you out of your misery.
I dig it.
Me too.
Fucking, I can't believe I watched this feature.
Now you get to talk about it.
But
now you get to talk about it.
Yeah, I guess I'm like also glad that I did it or whatever, and I'm like laying back in my chair like a fucking 14-year-old. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that like we can get into ratings and stuff like that. Like I didn't dislike it. I think once I finally like got over myself that allowed the movie to play, I'm glad that I waited until I did. I'm going to try and not make it a thing for the last movie. I'm going to try and watch it at like a normal time I don't know if there's normal time that people watch horror movies, considering you watch it as a fucking lullaby, but that's besides the point. I appreciate what the movie was saying. The ways in which it was saying made me uncomfortable, but maybe sometimes that's what you need to do in order to hear the message, is the thing that I'm going to say for it.
Yeah, I love this movie. I also love this movie for how it switches genres. It starts off as sort of a thriller, then becomes a horror film, then becomes really satirical. In the second act, once AJ, Justin Long's character, steps onto the scene and then becomes a horror film again, it really does a lot of things. It braids a lot of different elements together really, really effectively.
I also want to compliment the final needle drop with the be my little baby. That was such a good final needle drop, like chef's kiss. Definitely a fantastic way to go out of that movie. So
agreed.
Let's rate this thing, Charlie. I have an idea for final ratings. Icons.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
I want to know what
do you have an idea?
I want to know what you're thinking.
So I was thinking either baby rattles, or we could do baby bottles. We can't do boobies. or VCR cameras. One of the
Ooh, the VCR camera feels creepy.
Was fucked up.
The baby bottle, just because, we gotta do bottles.
All right, well, out of 5 baby bottles, I'm gonna give Barbarian 4 bottles, which is really high for, like, probably would go back and watch again if someone was like, oh, I would want to watch that.
Yeah, I like it because of all the conversation it started and just all the feelings it brought out in me. So I'm gonna go 5 bottles, because not only is this a film that I think shifted the genre, and a lot of people compare things to Barbarian. Like, now if a horror film switches genres in between acts, people will be very quick. Well, executives will be very quick to say, oh, like Barbarian. So
cool.
I think that's very, very interesting and very cool.
That is interesting.
But that's my take. I'm glad that you watched this movie.
Well, apparently it's not going to get any easier for me as we headed to our final week of spooky season. Is there anything else you want to...
Wait, you've seen Get Out before, though, right?
No.
What?
Oh, yeah.
It is a classic.
I was just about to ask if you wanted to spoil what our final week of spooky season was. I guess I don't have to ask anymore.
Absolutely.
You just did it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be covering the seminal classic Get Out, of which I have never seen before, in our final week of spooky season. So
it's in my top 5.
As we promised, these spooky movies are not getting any easier as we get to the finale of our... So we just go progress... Well, I mean, I probably would have flipped The Craft and Scream if we were going to go progressively scary here, but we'll pretend like The Craft and Scream are both kind of starter kit scary movies, and then we've slowly gotten scarier as we've gone from there. Charlie, I'm going to go ahead and say that we should definitely do this again next year.
Yeah.
I kind of loved it, and I think, I could always use some expanding of my horizons. So I think we're going to have to come back for spooky season round 2 when it rolls around in 2025. So fingers crossed that we're blessed enough to still be doing this by then.
Absolutely.
But if we are, we're going to be doing it again for sure.
Absolutely, baby.
I love it. Well,
I love you.
As always, hey, wow, I love you too, man. As I said, no better way of expressing my love for you than willingly watching scary movies. That is for sure. No one else could get me to do it up until this point. So you take that as you will. So that's going to do it for this episode of Charlie and Steve Watch Stuff. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't smashed that subscribe button, I very delicately implore you to. If you like and comment, as always, all that YouTube algorithm jazz. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcast platform and you haven't given us that 5-star rating yet, we would truly appreciate it. It really, really helps out with visibility, and we're trying to get us into as many eyes and ears as possible. So for myself, Steve Selnick, and my good friend Charlie Peppers, we will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Goodbye, friends.
Bye.